Markous and the Catacombs Adventure Part 1. Markous laughed as he sprinted through the park, his feet kicking up dust as he dodged behind trees. "You can't catch me, Max," he called over his shoulder. Max grinned and ran faster, reaching out to tag him, just as Markous's foot slipped on a patch of loose dirt. The ground crumbled beneath him. "Markous!" Max shouted, but it was too late. Markous tumbled into a deep, dark hole. Luckily, he still had his umbrella in his hand from earlier when his mom had told him to bring it just in case. As he fell, he quickly opened it, and instead of plummeting, he drifted down slowly like a feather. The descent seemed endless. The air grew colder. Strange whispers echoed around him. Then, finally, thud. His feet touched solid ground. Markous folded his umbrella and looked around. He wasn't in the park anymore. He was in a tunnel lined with stone walls stacked high with bones and skulls. Candles flickered, casting eerie shadows. "The catacombs," he whispered. He had read about these in books, but never imagined he'd end up in one. Just then, something moved in the darkness. A shadow slithered along the wall. Markous gulped and gripped his umbrella tighter. "Hello." A deep, raspy voice echoed through the tunnel. "A visitor. It's been a long time." Markous turned to see a tall, cloaked figure step out from the darkness. Its face was hidden beneath a hood, but its bony fingers clutched a lantern. "You shouldn't be here," the figure said. "This is a place of lost souls." Markous shivered. I didn't mean to fall down here. Can you help me get back up?" The figure studied him for a moment. Then, with a bony hand, it pointed down a narrow passage. "If you wish to leave, you must follow the path of light. But beware. The shadows will try to lead you astray." Markous nodded and took a deep breath. He had no choice but to trust the mysterious guide. With his umbrella in one hand and his courage in the other, he stepped forward into the unknown. Markous walked cautiously down the passage, the dim candlelight flickering along the stone walls. Every few steps, the shadows seemed to move, stretching and shifting like they were alive. The cloaked figure followed behind him, their lantern casting a soft golden glow. "Do not listen to the whispers," the figure warned. "The shadows will try to deceive you." Markous swallowed hard. Sure enough, soft voices began to whisper in his ears. "Turn back. This way is safer. Follow us. We know the way out." He shook his head. "No, I won't listen to you." He kept his eyes forward, following the light ahead. But then, out of the corner of his eye, he saw something strange, a door made of old wood slightly open. Inside he saw daylight, green grass, and Max standing there, waving. "Markous! Over here!" Max called. "I found the way out." Markous hesitated. His heart leaped at the thought of escaping so easily. "Max!" He took a step toward the door. Whoosh! The cloaked figure suddenly grabbed his arm and pulled him back. The door slammed shut, vanishing into the stone wall. "That was a trick," the figure said firmly. "The shadows almost had you." Markous's breath came fast. His legs felt weak. "But it looked so real." "They always do." The figure turned and pointed down the tunnel. "Keep going. You're stronger than them." Determined, Markous tightened his grip on his umbrella and pushed forward. The tunnel twisted and turned, leading to a large chamber. At the center stood a massive spiral staircase made of bones, leading up toward a faint glow. The exit. But before Markous could take a step, the shadows around him rose up, forming into towering figures with glowing red eyes. They surrounded him, whispering louder now, their voices crawling into his ears like spiders. "Stay with us. You belong here now. There's no way out." Markous clenched his fists. No, I'm not afraid of you. He swung his umbrella at them, and to his surprise, the shadows reeled back, hissing as if the umbrella's touch burned them. Cloaked figure nodded. Good. Now go. Markous sprinted up the staircase, swinging his umbrella at any shadow that got too close. The light above grew brighter, the whispers fading behind him. With one final leap, he burst through the opening and landed right back in the park. Sunlight warmed his skin. The soft grass cushioned his landing. He gasped, looking around. There was Max standing right in front of him. Markous! Max cried. Where did you go? You just disappeared. Markous blinked, still holding his umbrella. The hole was gone. No sign of the catacombs, the shadows, or the cloaked figure. I fell, Markous said, his voice shaking. But I made it back. Max gave him a weird look. Fell? Dude, you were right here the whole time. Markous stared at the ground where the hole had been. Was it all real? Or just his imagination? But as he turned to leave the park, he noticed something strange. His umbrella's tip was covered in black smoke, as if it had really touched the shadows. And in the wind, a soft whisper echoed, "Until next time, Markous.